So, במדבר פרק ל"ה, פסוק א'. The story goes the following, then we go into the details. The Torah says that Hashem told Moshe in Arvot Moab, צו לבני ישראל, command בני ישראל, when they will eventually get to Eretz Israel, they gotta give the Leviim a portion of it, which is, ונתנו ללוויים שדה and מגרע, they gotta give them housing and fields in front of the houses for the Leviim. Then the Torah says that those fields should be used for Leviim, but eventually will be considered the Arei Miklat. You know what's Arei Miklat? An escaped cities. Is that right to translate it?
Cities of refuge.
City of refuge. Refuge. Cities of refuge. Yeah, refuge. City of refuge, which is if somebody kills nefesh b'shogeg, if somebody kills somebody else by mistake, he has a special. He needs to run to that city. Why does he need to run to the city? Because there is a special mitzvah, goel adam. Anyone who died by mistake or intentionally, if Beit Din will kill somebody who died intentionally, if Beit Din are not going to kill, there is a goel adam. So goel adam is the person who is in charge of killing anyone who killed his relative. So lo naim. So if somebody even by mistake was shooting his gun and by mistake he shoots somebody else, he can be killed by the relative. But we have the refuge cities where he can run to. When he ran to that city, he will be observed in, will be built in, and the goel adam, which is the relative, cannot kill him anymore. That's the story. So it seems. Let's go through the storyline in the Parsha and then we'll go into the details. So the Torah says you got to give the Arei Miklat to the Leviim, and there is two portions in the Arei Miklat. One is supposed to give the cities, and you're supposed to give a field in front of the city to the Leviim. Why do we need a field in front of the city to the Leviim? The Gemara said it's called lenoi, areas for beauty, which means, you know, religious people, from people intend to build on every square inch that they can build. You know, you go to Yerushalayim, every balcony, and on top of the balcony, where I live in Eretz Israel, there were half of the parking lot became storages, and half of the storages became apartments. So there are storages, they're all apartments, and like it's unbelievable. From everything, they make a place to live. The Torah said, but there is a limit. You're supposed to have a cities lenoi, a beautiful areas where don't build, you know, leave it open. My parents used to live in a beautiful home. Then suddenly, 24, no, I don't know how many floors over there, in front of it. We used to see all Yerushalayim in Givat Shaul. Then suddenly, huge building. מה אתה עושה? And it says that the Mishnah in Avot, על דעתך חטפוך, בסוף מטיפייך יטופו. It says, for what you did to others, they did it to you. But whoever did it to you, they will do it to them as well. So a building blocking us, and then another building blocking them afterwards, you know? So whenever you buy a house, just make sure you buy on the last, by the highway, you know, שאין מה לעשות. אם לא, in Eretz Israel, you will expect a building in front of you. So the Torah said it's supposed to have a cities of noi, a clean area where no one can get in, and no one can do anything.
They didn't do any agriculture in those plots of land?
What?
They didn't do any agriculture in those
So
plots
they
of land?
were allowed, there were no trees or vineyards allowed. Only low stuff. It's gotta be open. So interesting the concept of, you know, the concept that you need to take care of the beauty, which is important. But this din was taught to us only with the din that we're supposed to give a portion of the cities to the Leviim. So when you give it to the Leviim, the Torah is telling us the Leviim should have the beauty areas, the land outside not going to be built. And we're learning from that command of the Leviim to Bnei Israel. Also Bnei Israel, in front of their cities, they need to have an open area, not build a beautiful open area. My question is, why is the Torah needs to give me this din when we are talking about the Leviim? when you give to Leviim, give them an additional space for the beauty area. And we're learning from the Leviim that we, in our city, we're supposed to leave a beautiful space for our own areas. If this is a general deal for Am Yisrael, for any building, it shouldn't be said by the Leviim, it should be said by all of Am Yisrael. So like I said before, the Leviim were the firmest people, and it was important to teach them the lesson, yet Am Yisrael needed as well. So how come this message was given only to Leviim, and we are learning from the Leviim? The Pasuk says, after we're learning the din of the Leviim, the Torah says that these Leviim will be designated for Arei Miklat, for refuge cities, to host somebody who killed Beshogeg. So, I mean, to be honest, I don't think Leviim, those cities, they're not going to be popular cities. Because if you know in the areas you have all those who killed Beshogeg, now who wants to be around? So if you think about it, it's only Beshogeg, it's only by mistake, nachon? So if those people could live in Beshogeg, it's not so bad to live around them.
It can also be by mistake.
No, so there is no by mistake. So the Torah says you got to make sure it was no by mistake. It was a true mistake. So you're talking about living around those. So I was thinking that, while they're on the city, they should behave better. What's up, Ron?
אפילו לא צריך להיות משוגג, כאילו, מבחינת מיסטייק.
מה אתה אומר?
באונס, כאילו. זה אפילו לא צריך להיות בפשיעה, נגיד.
לא, אונס פטור, only shogeg. So if it's only shogeg, if somebody was completely honest, how do you say honest? Unexpected, meaning?
Honest by force.
Honest. No, honest. No, meaning.
Not on purpose, not
Not on purpose,
out of
בכלל.
control, out of this control.
Out of any control, then it's patur. So there are some control over here that seems to be, and yet you're going to say, welcome, come to my city. I don't think it's a safe place for kids as well, for people who are not as careful on their behavior. There is something very interesting. The Torah says that there were 3 cities in Ever HaYarden, across of the Jordan River, and additional 3 cities in Eretz Israel. If you're trying to do the ratio, it doesn't make sense, because cities in Eretz Israel, there were 2.5 tribes live on the other side of the Jordan. The remaining lives in Eretz Israel. So if 3 are enough for 10.5 tribes, 9.5 tribes, Kol Sheken the 3 should be enough for, meaning, so for 2.5 tribes, you need only 1 city. So we're asking, how come, so the Gemara says, why do we need to have 3 cities in the other side of the Yarden, of the Jordan, and in Eretz Israel 3, where there is only 2.5, and over there we have more. So the Gemara says, yes, so there are more motorers in across of the Jordan River. It's called Kriyat Poalim Rotzechim Meratzechei Aved, משהו כזה. So there are more motorers, people are רוצחים. Murderers, לא? Murder, M-E או M-O?
U.
M-U, בכלל לא זה ולא זה, אוקיי.
דווקא שם או כמו שיש כהן? דווקא שם?
לא, דווקא שם, זה said in the Jordan. So I was thinking about it, we're talking about mistakes, נכון? So why we have more mistakes over there? Mistakes is something in common among people, נכון? How come we have by the Jordan, by the Yarden, there are much more mistakes than having in Eretz Israel? I was in Eretz Israel. I had the zchut to be in Eretz Israel in a prevention driving lessons. So I don't know why, but they suspend my license. And stay, they're against religious people, they suspend my license, show him and after they suspend my license, so you have in Eretz Israel, זה נקרא נהיגה מונעת, meaning קורס נהיגה מונעת. In Eretz Israel, if you suspend your license, you're supposed to go to a special class to teach you, to make you relax, to drive according to the limit, not 60 miles above. So you're supposed to behave accordingly. So on that training, so usually it's an open class, men and women together. So I went there, and they did special for Haredim, for frum people. So the guy who gave the lessons, I felt bad for him. Because, we are yeshiva guys, we always analyze stuff, yeah? So you cannot say a few sentences without any questions. I tell you, my brother-in-law is learning to be an engineer. So they are a group of yeshiva guys who have a specific class, no ladies, just to be engineer. So they telling the engineer, look, if you think the pulse like that works with this weight, let's do the opposite over there. And if you make another support on the other side, that should work. Like, guys, this is math. This is not svores, what's going to work, what's not going to work. I love it. He told me that they have a hard time. Those who go to law school, it's easier for yeshiva guys. But he told me that the yeshiva guys have a hard time over there go by the book. You can't even think. You're not allowed to think when it's come to engineering. You must go by the formula. So it's very hard for them. So the guy gave us the prevention driving lessons. And he said that in America, they spoke about the stop sign over here, that you have 4 stop signs, and each one stop at a time. So a guy asked, what if everybody came exactly on the same time? He said, in America, they're all not coming on the same time, So the guy said, but if it by mistake happened, he said, they don't have those mistakes over there. In Eretz Israel, you have those mistakes, So this is Israeli class, by mistake, a mistake over there. So very strange to see that there are more mistakes occurring in an area where Ever HaYarden, on the 2.5 tribes, versus happening in Eretz Israel. Weiter, so the relative is supposed to kill the murderer. It's called Goel Adam. What's Goel Adam translation? Exact translation in Hebrew?
Freeze them.
No, to ligol is to redeem. He's redeeming the blood. Nachon? Sounds like very strange. Okay, this guy's dead. How would you redeem his blood? Too late. Why would you redeem the blood of such a guy? And also, you cannot redeem the blood. If you're going to kill him, you're going to redeem his blood? Doesn't make sense. The concept that you redeem blood by killing the murderer doesn't work for us, because 2 people are going to be dying, especially by mistake. If you're going to tell me it was intentionally, אני יכול להבין, maybe you want to take a revenge. I would have called him the nokem, taking revenge. I wouldn't call it he's going to redeem the blood. Why it's called redeeming blood? It's very, very strange definition.
So are you saying the guy that died is already dead?
He's already
There's
dead.
nothing you can't really redeem.
Exactly. So how can you redeem בכלל the blood? There is a machloket, by the way, in the Gemara, and Rabbi Akiva hold it's a mitzvah to kill the murderer. למה? mitzvah עוד? I mean, you take revenge of a family relative, I understand. But to do mitzvah? So what's the need of Goel Adam? It seems to be that the need is a family relative. It seems to be very limited to family relative. The Yerushalmi said, if a father killed his son by mistake, his remaining son cannot be his Goel Adam to redeem the blood of his brother. But if a brother killed another brother, the remaining brother will be Goel Adam for the murderer. Very interesting. If a father killed a son, the remaining son
Can I be the redeemer?
cannot be the redeemer of the father to the father.
Of the son who got killed.
Of the son who got killed to the father. But if Reuven kills Shimon, Levi will be their redeemer of Levi by killing
No. What?
Reuven.
Levi will be the redeemer of Shimon.
Yeah, kill Shimon, yeah, by killing Reuven, right.
Not every family members are dead.
Yaakov also can be. Bechura.
Not every there's 2 family members dead now.
So being in the same kasha, well, what's going on over here? I mean, okay, another person going to die, shkoyach, lo ani lo ata. In Hebrew says again, neither you nor the yalla, both of us going to lose it. If somebody pulling you into the pool, you take him in with you also, If at least you're going to get into it, yalla, do, buy one, get one. So what's the idea? The brother going to kill. Now, the Gemara, there is a special set. The Gemara says in Makot, if there is no Goel Adam, מעמידים לו גואל אדם אחר.
זה בעיה שלהם.
מה אתה אומר?
בעיה שלהם.
הם יכולים להתחבר בלי בעיה?
לא.
Okay. So the Gemara said, if there is no גואל אדם, if the guy has no relative, מעמידים לו גואל אדם. You're going to put for him another גואל אדם. I mean, if there is no relative, what do you want? To put another relative instead of him, to take the revenge of him? Like this concept בכלל, doesn't make sense. Weiter, the way we approach to the guy who killed, when the Torah begins in Perek Lamed Hey Pasuk Yud Aleph, we're talking about building the refuge city, Arim Miklat. Ve'ikritem lachem arim, you should designate for your cities, Perek Lamed Hey Pasuk Yud Aleph, Arim Miklat tiyena lachem, it will be a refuge city. Ve'nas shama rotzeach makeh nefesh bishgaga. Who will go over there? Rotzeach. Rotzeach means murderer, killer. Then the Torah is talking about Pasuk Yud Bet, and where it's going to be the city. It is going to be 3 and 3. Pasuk Yud Gimel, Yud Dalet, will be Livnei Israel. In Pasuk Tetvav, the Torah concludes, those three will be Lanus Shama, Kol Makeh Nefesh Bishgaga. Who's going to run away? Anyone who hit a soul by mistake. So when the Torah describes what are the cities used for a murderer, when the Torah said the story, if the guy come and kill by mistake, then Torah is telling us it's for, it doesn't use the terminology of murderer, the Torah uses the terminology of anyone who kills a soul. Anyone. So why did the Torah change the definition? Now there is an unbelievable Rashi. In the next pasuk, ve'im bichli barzel ikahu. There are two ways that two psukim the Torah describe how the following case is talking about if somebody killed intentionally, he's supposed to die. If somebody killed his friend intentionally, he threw a stone on him. The halacha says, not any stone that's being thrown on him is going to die. The halacha says that, you know what, a certain size of stones are killing people. A small stone would not kill a person. So you need a certain size. That's why it's the Torah, being ba'evet asher yamut ba. Even a stone that he will die from it. You need the proper size of a stone to kill somebody. But when it comes to barzel, when it comes to metal, the Torah doesn't mention a size for it. Any metal that he killed with, he will die. Why? Even a needle. The Torah says, "Galui veyadua lifnei mi she'amar vaya olam." It's known for in front of the Almighty, to the one who said and the world was created. שהברזל ממית בכל שהוא. That a metal, any size of it can kill people. So therefore the Torah didn't give a shiur, didn't give a size to the metal, because metal at any way can kill somebody. You can take a needle, you cannot take a small stone and kill somebody, but you can take a needle and kill.
Even a bullet.
What?
Like
a small bullet, right, very good.
We didn't even have that. That's how unbelievable that is.
Yeah, I mean, but so yes, also a stone, if you put it on a gun, maybe also will. Right. So what bothers me on this Gemara, the description of the Gemara, Galui veyadua lifnei mi shamar vaya olam, it's known to the creator of the world, meaning there is a special secret. What's the secret? That metal kills any size. Shkoyach. I don't need God to tell me that. I know that. What I need to say, it's known for God that any side is going to kill. It's not something, when the Gemara uses the terminology, it's known for God who created the world, things that we don't know, then God knows that. But things that we know, we don't need to say that God knows that. How can we use such the terminology, Galui veyadua lifnei mi shaya ba'olam, we know it's from the Almighty who created the world, shkoyach, and we know. What's so important about it? Huh? זה לא חור, כמו שצריך, לא?
עושה לו חור בבן.
אוקיי. Then known that anyone who went to the refuge city, Leir Miklat, the time to redeem is by the time of the death of the Kohen Gadol. Rashi brings two reasons why you need to wait for the death of the Kohen Gadol. Reason number one, he says, because the Kohen Gadol is the one who brings Shechina Israel, who brings divine presence in Am Israel, and therefore, somebody who killed, the Rotzeach and the murderer, bא לסלק Shechina Israel. He came to take away divine presence, the Shechina, from Am Israel. So therefore, the murderer needs to wait for the death of the Kohen Gadol. Let's think about it 1 second. He didn't come to הרוצח בא לסלק, he came to take away שכינה, no, it's by mistake. He never had an intention to do so. So what's the comparison to Kohen Gadol? And second, should be exactly the opposite. When the Kohen Gadol died, you have less shechina, נכון? Less vine present. So why by the death of the Kohen Gadol, this is when he leaves?
No, he's just kapara, like basically.
No, but if the Kohen Gadol is the opposite of him, so it should be while the Kohen Gadol alive,
No, he's
he
the opposite of him.
meaning the Kohen Gadol brings Shechina, bring divine presence to Am
He
Yisrael,
took away that.
and he's taken away. So if you have Kohen Gadol, I would let him live out. But if the Kohen Gadol died, there is no more person who's going to bring divine presence into Am Yisrael, then you shouldn't let him out. Why when he's dead, this is when you let him out? If he's the one who does the opposite of him, you don't let him out when the Kohen is still alive.
We let him pray. We let him pray also to the Kohen to die.
מה אתה אומר?
We also give him a right. The Kohen Gadol's mother used to come and give him food.
Right, that's not, yeah, that's something else. That's the second reason. Because היה לו להתפלל. Next one, we have a special deed that ערי מקלט לא ניתנו לקבורה. You're not allowed to bury people in ערי מקלט. He says, ושב אל ארץ אחוזתו. He returned back to where he grew up, he's going to be buried over there. Why it's important for ערי מקלט לא ניתנו לקבורה? Let's say the guy has a wish, he's misken. Oh, he killed when he was 13, and the Kohen Gadol was appointed that day. Rabbi Ishmael Kohen Gadol was 80 years Kohen Gadol. הוא תקוע שמה. For him, all of his life is in the Miklat. Shul, people, friend. This guy, Commander, is going to be great-grandfather in the Ir Miklat. So where is going to be buried? No, where you came from. Okay, I don't know where I came from. It was 13. Why there is a special din? You're not allowed to bury them in Arei Miklat. Another interesting definition. Goel Adam, is he a murderer or not?
He's clearly
The
not.
Redeemer, is he a murderer or not? Lechura, he's not a murderer. The Torah says, Goel Adam, עם פסוק כ"ז, in פרק נ"ז, הוא מצא אותו גואל אדם, בגואל אדם found the murderer מחוץ לעיר, לגבול עיר מקלט, outside of the city, ורצח גואל אדם את הרוצח. גואל אדם will murder the murderer. אין לו דם, he has no blood. מה... is he...
Not heck.
It seems to be that both are equal. Just like he's a murderer, he's a murderer. What's the difference over here? Why did the Torah describe the Goel Adam as the murderer? The murderer, it shouldn't be a murderer בכלל.
Wait, are you
Huh?
saying he's describing him or his action?
Both of them.
No,
ורצח.
Veratzach meaning it's the action of a
Yeah, but he's,
murdering,
yeah,
that's what you're referring to?
yeah, so he's a murderer as well. If
I
he's
mean,
murderer,
you should have said V'harag.
Yeah,
כן, not
That's
the
what
רצח,
it
he's
is.
not a murderer, he has the right to do it. So, what's the pshat? What's the whole parasha over here?
בקורא אמור ישוב הרוצח על ארץ אחוזתו, לפני זה לא היה רוצח, לפני זה היה מכה ששגע.
נכון, זה נפש בקעה, יש בהתחלה זה נפש, באמצע ככה. So I'm thinking the following. What's the issue? What's the whole idea of to begin with Goel Adam? You're supposed to redeem the blood. What's blood? You know, we take blood, we want to take revenge on the blood. What's the blood going on over here? The case, the din of Goel Adam, it's specific, very specific case. Goel Adam, if he was not negligent, just not as careful, he cannot go to Ir Miklat, to a refuge city. Killing by mistake, b'shogeg, by definition of the Torah, it's a very, very fine situation. If he was not expected at all, if a guy was working on his house, chopping trees, and somebody walked inside, and a tree fell on him, he's patu, he's not expected. But if he was at the forest, that it's possible for people to walk in, and then he was chopping the tree, and then he killed them, then he's going to die. If he was working with somebody by cutting trees and it fell on him, he's not going to die, because it's possible for it to happen. So it's a very, very fine time that not really, cannot be unexpected at all, is patu. If it's possible for it to happen, if there is a likelihood for it to happen, then he's not going to go to your miklat. The only moment to go to your miklat is when was in between, that it's unlikely to happen, but it happened. Why? The sense of responsibility that we carry toward each other usually begin with a sense of responsibility that we are taking for ourselves. A person who kills by mistake, b'shogeg, is a person who's not taking the proper responsibility, is not a poshea. If he's negligent, we're not sending him to your miklah, there is no point. It's a person that is in between, meaning he's aware, he's sensitive, but he's not fully aware. So what he should do in such a case when he's at the forest cutting tree, he should bring one more guy, make sure you stay away, that nobody comes around me, and then I'm gonna cut the trees. What? He didn't take extra caution by when he was cutting the trees. Not taking extra caution, what does that mean? How do you define not taking extra caution? So we all treat it as, my father always says, you know, אצל הישראלים אומרים, יהיה בסדר. Israelis say, it's going to be fine, don't worry. אל תדאג, אחי. Don't worry, יהיה בסדר. יהיה בסדר, it's a sign of shogeg. It's a man that he doesn't take the proper caution. He just assumes things will be okay. What's unbelievable about that this יהיה בסדר, we're talking about you're risking life of people, נכון? People are going to be there is a chance somebody going to walk in. But what יהיה בסדר means to you? They say, no, people are not going to walk in. You rationalize yourself, the things are not going to happen. That's how you fool yourself. Because if you think properly, it's possibility, נכון? If it's possibility, prevent it. Make sure it's not going to happen. But you're fooling yourself that it's not going to happen. How would a person fool himself that things are not going to happen? Because if a person who cares for somebody else, why do he take the risk of the life of somebody else? Must be that this person thinks same about himself. Meaning, if he would have value and appreciate life for somebody else to the highest, he wouldn't do it to him, he would have prevented. Why is not really appreciate that person's life? Because he doesn't appreciate his own life. Because if you appreciate your life properly, you will appreciate other people's life and you will prevent it properly. But if you don't appreciate your own life, what's going to be? Then you don't appreciate other people's life. I had people working in Stockholm in my house. And you know, I see them on the second floor to the third floor. I was afraid, Ishma, you know. So Yossi, JC told me, you see they're all limping. They're all limping. Each one of them had an emergency landing to the to the ground at one time, all those people. So that means they don't have the sense being afraid. They are just me looking at them like, whoa. You see, they have insurance? You know? Ma, I mean, I just see them at מפחיד. עכשיו, he's not tied to anything. אמרתי לו, יוסי, put something around them. But it's coming from a point, from a sense, they're not concerned about themselves. So they're not going to be concerned about others. So their manager was in charge. I told him, you're not afraid? He said, no, it's fine. Because he's fine, because I'm fine, because you think you're okay. Any time that we are not sensitive for life of people, coming from lack of awareness of being sensitive for our own life. So if you think, what's really caused the killing of the guy? The lack of awareness of your own life. Because if you do have awareness of your own life, you would have awareness of somebody else's life and you would have prevented. The Goel Adam job, the Redeemer job, לעניות דעתי, I think it's not about taking revenge of the person who died. That's not the problem. Because like we said, somebody who died, מה קרה? No, he died. It's over. You cannot take revenge of somebody else like that. You're redeeming the blood. Whose blood are you redeeming?
His blood.
His blood. The murderer blood, it's called murderer because he's a killer, he's killing himself. He has no appreciation for his own blood. We need to appoint somebody to remind him, blood, it's important. So watch yourself, then you're going to watch others. There is no way to train somebody to watch others. The only way you can train somebody to be sensitive is for himself. If he will be sensitive for himself, he will be sensitive for others. Therefore, the Torah gave a special din of Goel Adam. Goel Adam is supposed to be out there and teaching him a lesson. You gotta be responsible. What's the din of Ir Miklat? It's unbelievable din. While the guy is in Ir Miklat, he is protected. If he step out of Ir Miklat, out of the Ir Miklat, and the guy is waiting for him with a sniper, can shoot him. So which type of life the Goel Adam lives now? And the murderer lives now.
He's always caring about what the other person
It's
does.
always, we're creating life of awareness. We're giving him a new life from now on. There is somebody who out there to get you, so be sensitive. Be aware to everybody around. A person like that, he changed all of his life perspective. So if you think about it, would the Levi'im want such a type of people to be there in their city? There is a famous story, I think I shared it here once. It was a guy, it's a guard of a company, big manufactory, and the guy fell asleep at night in the middle of the shift. And then there was certain fire, and all of the company went on fire. I mean, there was half of the company went on fire, the other half remains, and baragan. Next morning, you're getting a call to the other half of the company that remained, to the manager office, and you give him a letter. He folds the letter, put it in his pocket. He's like, why don't you read the letter? I know. You're firing me, obviously. He said, okay, but read the letter. He opened the letter, he says, we want to renew the contract with you for the next 30 years. Like, what's wrong with you? He said, manager told him, listen, anyone can fall asleep during a security job while you're watching. Any new one I'm going to hire, he might fall asleep again. You, I know for sure you're not going to sleep anymore. I need it for the next 30 years. A guy like that who lives in the Ir Miklat, is he a risk? Is he a risk to the city?
No.
Or an asset to the city?
It's an asset.
It's an asset to the city. You're creating on a guy that he always aware and alert. Therefore, the Torah said, if he doesn't have Redeemer, if he doesn't have Goel Adam, you appoint him another Goel Adam. Why? If the guy is a ger, is a convert, we have a rule, a convert, and lo yoshim. Nobody can inherit him. Everybody can take it. So whose dam you taking? It's not for him. It's not for the person who died. This is for the murderer to create a system of...
Ir Miklat's fun to be within the Levi'im.
Huh?
Ir Miklat's fun to be within the Levi'im.
Within the Levim, yeah. נדבר עוד מעט על עיר מקלט, שנייה, לא...
No, I just want to know.
כן.
So I'm saying,
They coming to live by
so
the
can
Levim.
you say that the Levi'im were always aware of Am Yisrael, so they get the awareness in the Levi'im by
אתה
living
כבר עונה לי
with them?
תשובה, זה שלב הבא. So the pshat is we creating an awareness system for the guy to develop himself. Where is the system located? Ir Miklat. What's causing a person not to be aware to himself begins in the following. Often, when we have a lot, we feel comfortable. I mean, economy in America now changing itself. Seem to have less money. In the Airbnb business, less visitors, and it's less than before. So, what are people doing on such a case? So, I remember on 2008, Sabi Bihar told me there were donations that were pledged, and a guy sees that his stocks, something happened, and they canceled the pledge. A guy did a credit card, 200,000, and dispute the charge. Why? This guy worked, I think I knew the guy at the time, I met him by mistake, like $40 million. So these 200,000 are not going to make a difference to you, nachon? So why do you cancel the charge? When something being taken away from you, it giving you more of a sense on appreciating of what remains, what you have. You're more attached to what you have when something it's been taken away from you. If you receive something and you have everything is good, yeah, you don't appreciate it enough. But there's a person who was taking, let me make sure what I have it. Even though it's $200,000 would not make a difference to him, yet he's creating a new sense to himself to belong, to appreciate what he has. In order for a person to appreciate himself, he needs to appreciate what he has. He needs to connect to what he has. The Gemara said that tzaddikim, righteous people, chaviv eleim mamonam kegufam. Their money to them is like their body. Money is like body. You know, rabbis only money. Tzaddikim, mamonam chaviv eleim megufam. The pshat is like that. There is a sense of achievement in life and ownership. When you understand what's yours is yours, you can appreciate yourself to yourself. But if what you achieve, you don't feel it's yours and you don't feel it as an achievement, then you don't appreciate even yourself. A tzaddik who worked on something, it's an achievement for him. He's not going to let it go for no reason. He's not going to throw it to the garbage. Because an achievement that you achieve, you must appreciate to appreciate yourself. When we got to Eretz Israel, there was a big problem. There was a big concern of lack of appreciation to ourselves. When does the person get the least level of appreciation to himself? If somebody gives you everything, what do you feel about yourself? A classic case, a son-in-law getting sponsored by his in-laws. They give you money. So I remember a friend of mine, he told me, your name, I'm not going to say his name, he told me in yeshiva, it's so hard for me, every month I need to call my father-in-law and say thank you. So I'm like, so don't call. It's like, well, I need to call, am I going to say thank you? So I told him, by the way, you train him that you say thank you. If you would have said thank you in the first month, you wouldn't have to do it. But he's obviously nicer than me. And, and he was saying thank you. And so he said, look, the feeling every month that you owe somebody, it's a very uncomfortable feeling. When we came to Eretz Israel, it bothers me why the Torah needs to give us all of the cities, and then the Torah commands us, but give 42 cities to the Levim. If the Levim deserve cities, then the cities should be Hashem should give cities to Bnei Israel, and then Hashem should give cities to the Levim. Why we, Bnei Israel, needs to give the cities to the Levim? So I used to think that the reason is because when you give to the Levim, you connect to them. If you give the Levim a city, you're the one who allow them to sit by you, to reside by you. Then you can learn from them. You can teach, you can associate with them. It's part of you. If the city was just given to them by Hashem, there was no really real connection between you and the Levim, which is true. But I think there is much more deeper pshat to understanding. When you receive the Eretz Israel, you don't have full connection to what you have. Hashem telling you, give a piece from what you have. It's a feeling. Somebody gave you $1 million and said, okay, give 200,000 to somebody else. What's the feeling? You know those feelings of giving Masei, you know? You're making money and then you give 20%. It's a piece. It's a piece of it. But when you give a piece, you understand what you have. If you stay just receiving with what you receive, you don't feel appreciation to what you have. Hashem is telling Bnei Israel, you need to give the piece to the Leviim. Why? So you appreciate what you have. So, Arei Miklat, if you think about that, who is Arei Miklat belong to? Really, it was belong to Am Israel. It was giving to the Leviim. When a guy gets galut or Ir Miklat, to a refuge city, which city is he going to? To the nearest city where he lives by, nachon? So what is this city? Who owns the city? My father donated, nachon? Guy goes to a shul, my father donated, he feels connected, it's part of it. So the guy is lacking the sense of connection, nachon? If a guy not sensitive for other people's life, he's not sensitive for his own life, doesn't have connection to his own belonging, we're bringing back to a place where you give somebody else. You gave this city to the Leviim, and now, what do? They're giving you back. You live by them. The cities of Arei Miklat, it's a place where people create connection, create sense. If the guy would have exiled to random Arei Miklat, it wouldn't be connected to. But if you exile to a place where it's part of you, so people coming for vacation to their grandparents' shul. Emmanuel Lowinger showed me a video where his father in Panama used to daven. You go there, you relate, you connect to it. A person who is not feeling a connection, you have to connect it back to what he gave, for where he came from. I think that's why all of the dinim of the Leviim, the beauty of the city was given through the Leviim. Why it's so important, beauty of the city? When I built my house, So I hired a designer to do it right. And he told me, okay, so he had the whole plan what to do outside. So I told them that I don't want any design outside. So he's like, what are you talking about? He said, outside, it's part of the house. You see here in Shorashim, it design also. So when you go outside, you have the elements, the feeling, the colors of what's going on inside. You see the brown over there? You see the path, supposed to be nice blue. We're trying to get off. It's driving me crazy. But you see the signs on the shapes on the walls. It's similar shapes of the chairs, of the shorashim. Everything cohesive, supposed to connect itself all together. So he was so bothered by the fact that I'm not going to do anything outside. I saw once. I heard it for somebody else. I was cheating on that. I saw people talking how to do their backyard. I couldn't hold myself. I told them, by the way, I think you should do it this way. So they told me, look at me like, what the heck are you? Meaning, I'm like, who are you doing it for? To impress me, right? If you do anything outside, who are you trying to impress? Outsider. I am the person you're trying to impress. So I'm telling you, that's how you're impressing me. They didn't like the idea. No, not at all. They didn't even smile, So I go, no, and I left. So why a design outside of a place give you the sense of connection to what you have inside? That's the reason I didn't want to do it outside in my house. Because it's not about the outside, it's about where I live inside. But the Noye beauty city, why do you need the beautiful area of the city? So you can see the city. A city full of trees, full of houses and everything, you don't see a city. In order to see a city, you need an introduction before you come to the city. You need the garden areas, you need an open area. Wow, what a city. So the din of the beautiful part of the city was going through the Leviim. Because the whole idea giving the cities to Leviim is for you to connect to what you earn, to what you have. The same din teaching you, there is another way to connect to what you have. Give the space, create a noi, create a beauty where you can relate and connect to the city. That's why all of the dinim of beauty comes to the Leviim. But it's not for the sake of showing off to the neighbors. Rather, it's exactly for the sake of you connecting yourself to the place where you are coming from. Let me see if I covered everything.
No.
What? Which one? The death of the Kohen Gadol. By the way, the psukim. When the pasuk describe what are the city for, what is the name of the guy? He is a murderer. How does he name himself before he goes to the city? How does he look at himself? Is he thinks he's a murderer? No. מה הוא חושב? I killed by mistake. Therefore, in Pasuk Yud Aleph in Torah describe what are the city for, is Vena Shama Rotzeach, a murderer. That's his job. But when Torah describe what's the case when a person is running to it, the Torah says, Lanus Shama Makeh Nefesh Bishkaka. Somebody who killed a soul by mistake. When a person runs into it, he look at himself as, I killed by mistake, what do you want? When a person lives in the city, how does he look at himself? He understands he's a murderer, he's a responsible party for what happened. So that's important of the Kohen Gadol. So we ask, the Kohen Gadol's job is to bring Shechina, to bring divine present to Israel. But when the Kohen Gadol died, that's the time, because this guy was, the Lashon of Rashi was, is a הרוצח בא לסלק שכינה מישראל. He came to take away Shechina for Am Israel. I think it's very scary. A person who lives a life without awareness of others, even if he didn't kill anybody, he called a רוצח, murderer. Murderer is not the action that you did. Murderer, it's the sensitivity that you didn't have. The awareness, I think a better word, that you didn't have. That's what defines person as a murderer. So therefore, when we are talking about the guy, he said he came to take Shechina out of Am Yisrael. He didn't do anything. The question was, he didn't intentionally, he didn't want to do it. No, it's not about what he did. It's about how he behaved. When you live a life without proper awareness, it's a life, it's called today a רוצח. It's a murderer. You don't need to wait for the tragedy to happen to define a murderer. And living a life without awareness defines by the Torah a murderer. This awareness of life, Kohen Gadol lives on the opposite life. What's להוסיף שכינה, the לשון is, בא להשרות שכינה בישראל. How does the Kohen Gadol give שכינה in Am Israel? So we know the job of the Kohen Gadol is אוהב שלום ורודף שלום, אהרון הכהן. The Kohen Gadol, his job is to give sense of life to people. If somebody did an avera, what's the job of the Kohen? Instead of him getting mitah, dying, the job of the Kohen is you bring a korban. Kohen Gadol's job is to give sense of life to people, not just vine present. Vine present means it's life to people. This guy has not giving life to people. When there is a Kohen who can redeem your averot, it's known by the Christian. You go to the priest Sunday, you confess, and everything erased. As far as I know, I've never been there. That's what I was told. Huh? כן? You have to pay a check something, כן, כפרה להכל. So that means that you go and it's over. באמת, the same thing is Kohen Gadol. If you think about it, the Kohanim, they bring a korbanot. Somebody did the job of the korbanot, it's only by beshogeg, by mistake. If you did something by mistake, who clears it, who wipes it away? Kohen Gadol. People rely on the Kohen Gadol to wipe their mistakes away. When the Kohen Gadol dies, you can't rely on him to wipe your mistakes away. You got to be responsible for your own mistake. It's a time of a pause. There is nobody officially who running Bet HaMikdash. There is no Kohen Gadol who bringing the korbanot. When a Kohen Gadol died, it's a time, it's a person that is not there to cover your mistake. You need to be, you're the responsible party for your mistake. That's a time a guy can leave the city. When you understand that nobody will cover up for your mistake, it's your responsibility, then you can work it out. In the United States, we have insurances. The insurance system really takes away from people's responsibility to not to cover mistakes. To cover mistakes. I mean, people rely. I see a guy cutting a saw. I'm like, I hope you have good insurance. He say, yeah, I do. Because, you're cutting, a finger gonna be cut. What's it gonna do? We rely on our insurance system, and we have less awareness to what we need to do. Therefore, every time insurance does inspection, to make sure you comply with your safety. Because as soon as you have insurance, you're not complying. Because you're not worried. The insurance will cover it. I had in one of my pockets, Yimach Shemo, a roofer that fell off the building. Yeah, the roof of the building. It wasn't so bad like the other one, the one before. No. One before I had a big miracle. I had a skylight in the roof. It's skylight. Chalon. Okay. It's made out of fiberglass, but it wears out very fast. So this chamor was climbing on top, and he stepped on the skylight. 3 days before, without my permission, the tenant in the bay, he built a spray booth for vans that he used to do, used to be body shop. So you bring a spray booth all the way high. So Baruch Hashem, he landed on the spray booth. So that was the first one. But the second one was no spray booth. And the guy, so it's unbelievable that I don't think anything happened to him. He sued, obviously, our insurance. It was a big balagan. But you see that my attorney told me, my lawyer told me, he said, you know what was your mistake? You didn't ask him for his insurance. Okay, shkoyach. But things gonna happen, his insurance doesn't cover, he might go to home. He said, no. He said, when a guy gives you his insurance, he's careful. When he doesn't give you his own insurance, he relies on your insurance. I can make money, lama lo, nachon? Let me make money on you. That's giving you less sense. We have less awareness, this insurance system, on our responsibilities. So our message is creating awareness. Got to be aware to everything around. I don't know if you realize, But in Shorashim, we're creating now a new awareness. We're trying to have more safety in the gym and everywhere. Nobody can drive a vehicle if it's not registered on the vehicle. But I think it's a good awareness to have general at home. Everybody today riding vehicles by understanding it's fine, it's okay. יהיה בסדר, don't worry, if gonna be accident, we're gonna say that really the law in the United States said a guy driving your car for more than 14 days a year, it needs to be listed in the insurance. You know that? So what we are saying, we let other people drive. I did it myself. And yeah, but if it's gonna happen, who knows that he was driving for 3 months?
No one's gonna know.
Lack of awareness.
No one's gonna know.
Awareness meaning the following. I will finish with that.
No, it's not done
I
yet.
met a guy. I have to finish with it.
המטפת, with the pasuk.
מתכת, אוי. The medal, why is גליל וידוע לפני מי שאמר והיה העולם. He's known in front of the Almighty who created the world. Why you need such a description? We're talking about awareness. By awareness is not what you defined awareness. You gotta be concerned for anything that might possible happen. Therefore, it's known to the God who created the world. It's not up to you. You're not the one who defined what awareness must be. Other people defined it. God above is the one who defined. I'm talking about going by the book, doing things correct. I was flying to Asher's wedding. I was sitting in the airplane by mistake next to the manager of the bank or where his father works. And I was flying with him, sitting next to each other, 3.5 hours, including delayed. We had enough time to speak. At the wedding, Asher's father, Meir, introduced me to him. Do you know him? Like, Meir, I spoke with him more than I spoke with you. I never spoke with him more than 2-minute conversation, 5 minutes. I mean, this is 3.5 hours conversation. Very interesting guy. He runs all of the areas of the bank around. He knows. It was a very interesting conversation. So he told me the following story, unbelievable story. He said that he was sitting in Starbucks 10 years ago, 12 years ago. He said, in Starbucks, Sunday morning, meeting with somebody, Israeli guy who knows he came here. A guy is a locksmith. He said, what a Sunday. Like, what do you mean? It was 10 o'clock. He said, look, was a couple outside of their house in Golden Beach. He said they were almost naked. They were fighting in the house, and they were screaming at each other. They left outside, and they got locked out of the house. He said, like, I come over there, I just like barely closing. He said, okay, open that. So he said, guys, $500. Like, okay, just open, you know. He said they couldn't say a word. $500, he said, I made $500 in 5 minutes. He said, I wish every Sunday I will have Sunday like that. Unbelievable. He said 3 months after he told me, this guy, the banker, Sagi telling me 3 months after he heard the guy sitting in jail. The locksmith. What happened? These 2 guys outside, there were 2 thieves, 2 robbers, that they called the locksmith to open the door for them. The law required the locksmith to check an identity, make sure you're the owner of the house before you open anybody else's house. מה הוא אמר? יהיה בסדר. $500, $500, יהיה בסדר. He's sitting in jail because they came to the house, they emptied the whole out. They had a moving truck, they know the guys were out of town. They emptied the whole house because he opened the door for them. למה? But our way, rules and regulation, מה אומר? יהיה בסדר, don't worry, it's gonna be okay. They live over here, what's the problem? That's the answer to your question. Nobody knows it's not an answer. Awareness means I comply, I do things what I need to do.